I bought every single DLC in Stellaris as to this video's date. Was it actually worth it? As you might know, I discovered Stellaris a few months ago, and it captivated me a lot. So much in fact that after a few games, I couldn't stand the thought of having so much of the game's content blocked beyond the paywall of DLCs, essentially restricting access to various game mechanics that I feel like they should have been part of the game's vanilla experience since the beginning. So, when the sales dropped and all of Stellaris' DLCs went on sale for 50% off, excepting the very latest ones, I couldn't resist. I had to get my hands on them and see just how much will they change my game's experience. Now, I'm not here to talk about every single DLC in part, reviewing every single aspect or do a tier list on which ones you should buy and which ones you shouldn't. No, that's something for another time. For now, I just want to offer my general thoughts on it. And my first thought? Wait for the sale. Honestly, don't buy them at full price. I'm going to be fully transparent. Even with the 50% off discount, buying every DLC for the game still ended up amounting to around 180 euros, including Machine Age, Grand Archive and Cosmic Storms, which did not go on discount. Now, while I said that I wouldn't review each DLC individually, at least not in this video, I'm still willing to explore the game further because as of right now, I barely have 300 hours into the game, and I know those are essentially baby numbers for this kind of game. I will tell you which DLCs I feel had the greatest impact for me in the game and I will recommend for you to buy. First of all, Utopia. I think that's the very first DLC you should get, if you plan on getting any. Megastructures, habitat stations, ascension perks, there is just a lot that Utopia adds, which feels like it should have been part of the base game since the beginning. So yeah, Utopia is definitely a big yes for me. Federations is another DLC I found great interest in. I do like diplomacy and politics in Stellaris, so Federations was definitely a great add-on to the game. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anyone who just dislikes the idea of cooperating with bots in the game. Nemesis was another fantastic DLC. There's just something badass about becoming the crisis, and even if becoming the quote-unquote evil guy in the game, Nemesis also allows you to become the, once again, quote-unquote good guy by becoming the custodian of the galactic community, which can subsequently become a galactic imperium with you to rule it. It's overall a great DLC in my opinion, and it adds a lot, especially in terms of roleplay. Megacorp is another heavily interesting DLC. If you like the idea of playing as an empire focused on its economy, attempting to use every single one of their allies just to increase their profits, then by all means, Megacorp is definitely the best choice. I heavily enjoyed playing as a criminal Megacorp, which didn't allow me to establish commercial pacts, but in exchange I could build various criminal enterprises on any non-Gestalt, non-Megacorp Empire planet, and as long as I wouldn't go to war with them, my criminal holdings will grant me credits, food, mineral research, and also cause the criminality of the planet where I place said holdings to skyrocket. Sometimes the enemy AI would respond by just spamming enforcers, which would cause the holdings to eventually shut down. Other times, they will simply accept the criminality, negotiate with the crime lords, causing it to reach even a 100% rate, allowing me to produce up to 400 or 600 energy credits just from a single planet. Sure, doing this will make said empires to dislike you, but all is good and forgiven when you donate a certain amount of those credit energy back to them, or when you have about 5 to 6 envoys working tirelessly to improve relations. Overall, I will say Megacorp is pretty good. The Machine Age. I think as to date that's the latest released Stellaris DLC. Now, what are my thoughts on the Machine Age? Well, personally, I think it's what Synthetic Dawn aimed to be initially. Like, in all honesty, I think that when they were developing Synthetic Dawn, they came up with all of these awesome ideas for robots and machines and cybernetics, and then one of the developers just went like, hold on, let's not put all of the good ideas in a single DLC. We could just take some of them and release the rest as another separate DLC. And then everyone in the room just started clapping at the idea. Nevertheless, yes, I think both of those DLCs are pretty awesome. I love robots in Stellaris, I love cyborgs, it makes the game feel as futuristic as it should feel, but this could have been a singular DLC, or at least an update for the other. Is Paradox one of the greediest game companies around? Definitely. Should you blame them for it? Yes, but also me. Just look at the title of this video. I'm obviously part of the problem here. Now, as far as species packs go, we got aquatics, plantoids, lithoids, necroids, and toxoids, and I think out of this bunch, my favorites have to be the necroids. Yes, no big surprise here. While every species pack adds something different, I think necroids is one of the species I enjoyed playing the most, especially out of a roleplay perspective. Of course, robots still hold a special place in my heart, but another species pack I could recommend, I think, are the plantoids. Honestly, some of the most fun I had in Stellaris was playing as a plantoid hive mind. That stuff slaps. Now, of course, this video wouldn't be completely fair if I also didn't talk about the DLCs I disliked. Okay, perhaps dislike isn't the correct term, because when I think about it, I have managed to draw out some kind of enjoyment out of all of them, excepting one. But there is definitely a few DLCs in the mix here whose price is definitely not justified. And yes, I will definitely berate them for that, starting with the greatest offender, Galactic Paragons. At full price, it's 15 euros. 15 euros for a DLC that essentially just adds a very small yet required update to the leader system in the game. That's it. Now, is this a good DLC? Yes, absolutely. The leadership mechanic within it, I will say it's a must-have. Is the price justifiable? Not at all. 15 euros at full price for something that feels like and should have been an update. It's insane. You can buy a whole separate game for that price. One that will probably respect you and your wallet. The next offender on the unjustified price list is definitely Cosmic Storms. Now, I've had Cosmic Storms for a while. What does it add? It adds storms. That's it. 12 euros, and it adds storms, which are more of an annoyance according to the mostly negative reviews on the Steam page. Apparently you pay 12 euros to get annoyed. This is probably the only one I can definitely say I wouldn't recommend. It adds some new origins and civics and stuff, but they're all focused around the storms, which nobody seems to like. Oh, and also AI generated content. Overlord. That's my next tooth to pick. Are the changes Overlord adds really cool? Yes, they are. New vesselization mechanics, a cool subterranean origin among with others, and hyper relays, orbital rings among other things. Are these changes and add-ons worth 20 euros? Definitely not. That's why I bought it on half a price, and it still feels like it wasn't that worth it. As I said, if you plan on buying any DLC for Stellaris, don't even think about buying them at full price. You'll feel completely ripped off. They seem to go on sale pretty often anyway. In fact, in the last 2 months, I've seen every DLC go on sale for half a price twice. Which honestly, yeah, it's good, but at the same time, just change their base price at that point. But that's obviously just a marketing tactic. I'm going to be blunt with you. Personally, I believe none of the DLCs are worth the full price. I know it, you know it, Paradox knows it. That's why they go on sale so often. It's sort of a FOMO tactic, you know, which works. It totally does. It did on me at least. Well, I'm incredibly weak-willed human being, so no big surprise. Also, I don't like pirating games. I mean, bluntly, I'm making content off of Stellaris. I've already earned back what I essentially spent on the game already out of the content I made. So in theory, yes, I am profiting off of the content Paradox made, so pirating it and making money off of it wouldn't feel morally correct. At least not in my book. Do you want to do that? Do you want to pirate off their content? I mean, don't tell me, I'm not your mom, nor am I an anti-game piracy activist. I have my solid thoughts and ideas on game piracy and whether it's morally correct or not, but I'm not talking about that today. I also would like to mention the following. If you're considering buying DLCs for Stellaris and don't know which ones to start with, or are unsure whether you'll play the game long enough to justify such an expense, I will recommend for you to buy instead their expansion subscription. Yes, I can already hear you booing down in the comments, and I hate subscriptions just like any other person, but give me a second here. If you buy every DLC at full price, which you shouldn't by the way, it will cost you a grand total of around 300 euros excluding their 7 euros ebook. If you buy all of the DLCs at 50% of discount, well, it'll obviously cost you probably half of that price, around 150 euros. Now, you can buy the expansion subscription, which gives you unlimited access to all of their DLCs, if I'm reading this correctly, at the cost of 10 euros a month. But said subscription is 50% off if you buy it for 6 months, meaning you'll pay 30 euros for 6 months of having Stellaris available with all of its DLCs. In all honesty, I'd say it's a decent deal, unless you're one of those people who picks a singular video game once and only play that for the rest of their lives, then I think 6 months should probably be more than enough to experience everything Stellaris has to offer. If after 6 months you are still playing Stellaris, you could buy that subscription again, play it for another 6 months, so basically an entire year at this point, and you will have spent only 60 euros, essentially what is less than half of what you will have spent to purchase every DLC. Part of me regrets not doing that. Of course, there is a certain sense of ego and accomplishment in knowing that after you buy said DLCs you own them, but let's be real, we don't actually own anything of this anyway. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps me greatly. Leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on Stellaris and how it handles its DLCs. Which ones are your favorite? Which ones would you recommend? And which DLCs you think one should avoid like the plague? As always, I would like to extend my thanks towards this channel members. Your support means the world to me, and if you would like to join them, you can do so through the join button down below. With this being said, I will see you in my next video. Have a good night.